Mescalero Chicahua, or the One Who Yawns, was an Apache Indian born in 1829. When he was young, his family was killed by Mexicans. He later found both his revenge and his nickname by attacking the Mexicans. Ignoring the bullets whizzing by him, he charged with only his knife, causing the Mexicans to exclaim, "Saint Jerome!"
Geronimo also fought against Mexicans and Americans in the Apache Wars to resist their expansion into Apache land. Geronimo was a gambler and definitely a ladies' man. He had many different wives, sometimes more than one at the same time.
Most famously, Geronimo was once trapped in a cave by American soldiers. They waited there for a long time, but Geronimo never came out. Somehow, he escaped, though there was no other exit out of the cave. He was later found elsewhere. No one knows how he escaped. Zachary Taylor was born in Virginia in 1784. He received little schooling, but was able to join the Army with help from his Secretary of State cousin James Madison. Taylor successfully defended Fort Harrison in the War of 1812, and then had later success fighting against the Black Hawk and Seminole Indians. He was named the leader of the Southern Army in 1841. Taylor commanded the Army of Occupants in the Mexican-American War. He pulled off a surprising victory in the Battle of Palo Alto, and he conquered the supposedly impenetrable city of Monterrey. Then, Mexican General Santa Anna intercepted a U.S. letter exposing Taylor's weak position. In the Battle of Buena Vista, Taylor received his war hero fame by surviving the Mexican attack, killing 3 Mexicans for every 1 American. He was nicknamed Old Rough and Ready for his stunning courage fighting while riding his horse Old Whitey and, of course, while shirtless. Zachary Taylor was now a war hero, and he decided he was going to run for president. He sought the help of the Whig Party and eventually got their support. He won the election of 1848. Many politicians thought Taylor would be a weak president, but they were wrong. He negotiated the Clayton-Bulwer Treaty, which dealt with the Nicaraguan Canal. Many people in the South were thinking about nullifying because of the issue of slavery. He exclaimed that he would lead the Union Army, go down into the South, and personally hang anyone who thought about leaving the Union.
My name is Harriet. I'm in charge of the Underground Railroad. Oh, yeah. My name is Harriet. I'm in charge of the Underground Railroad. Oh, yeah. Don't be afraid. Come on in, have a seat, drop your load.
Harriet Tubman spent the first 25 years of her life acting out and rebelling, resulting in constant physical punishment. One time, she was smacked in the face by a lead weight. This resulted in dizziness the rest of her life. When she finally ran away, instead of living a nice, easy life in Canada, she came back 20 times, rescuing 300 slaves in 20 years.
As an integral part of the Underground Railroad, there was a $40,000 bounty on her head. Yet she was never caught, and she never lost a single member of her party. Also, in 1840, she had brain surgery without anesthesia.
She also invented penicillin.
John Paul was born in 1747. He later added Jones to his name, making it John Paul Jones, because it sounds sweet. Jones began seriously sailing as a teen, but is most famous for his brilliant naval victories throughout the Revolutionary War.
He often found conflict with American politicians, yet he gained popularity as a naval hero, and was even depicted as a scalawag pirate villain by the British. Jones was the first person to receive the title of First Lieutenant in the U.S. Navy in 1775.
John Paul Jones only accepted excellence, and was criticized for flogging his men excessively in order to bring about greatness. While fighting the British in the Serapis, Jones was asked by a British officer if he would surrender. He simply replied, "I have not yet begun to fight."
Jones then proceeded to commandeer the Serapis and win a major victory for the U.S. Navy in the war. It was a turning point.
This revolution is no longer running.
George Washington was not only our first president, but he was also commander of the American Revolutionary Army, and the reason America really just worked. His legend began when he beat the living crap out of a bunch of French troops during the 7 Years' War, also known as the French and Indian War. And then pretty much after that, the colonists realized what a boss he was, and they tried to elect him king after the Revolutionary War, but he refused, proving that he is the beefiest man ever.
Michelle Huey quoted as saying, "George Washington is the most handsome founding father."
He also was a fantastic dancer, just like Mr. Mathis. Lastly, you guys know about the Washington Monument? It's life-size.
Amelia Earhart, perhaps you've heard of me? I was the first woman to fly the Atlantic, first woman to receive the Flying Cross, first woman to fly across the 48 states in a gyroprop.
Amelia Earhart was born on July 24, 1897 in Kansas. During World War I, she became a nurse's aide through the Red Cross. Later, she became very ill, so she learned mechanics and how to play the banjo. While in an airfield, a plane sped by her, and she claimed it spoke to her. She was going to go to Smith College, but then she remembered she liked dudes, so she went to Columbia instead.
When she later decided she wanted to fly, she bought her first plane, the Canary, styled up in her leather jacket, and in 1922 flew 14,000 feet up, the highest a woman had ever gone before.
She then decided she would probably get her pilot's license.
In 1928, she crossed the Atlantic by plane.
She had clothing and luggage designed after her.
She only accepted the 6th attempted proposal from her boyfriend.
Amelia Earhart flew multiple notable solo flights, but when she attempted to fly around the world, her radio transmission screwed up and she was lost. The U.S. Navy spent $4 million trying to find her, but never did. Sanctuaries, awards, stamps, and other things of importance often bear her name.
When Teddy Roosevelt had his boat stolen by a band of bandits, he tracked them down for 2 weeks, beat them up, and then turned them into the police. As Assistant Secretary of the Navy, he practically declared war on Spain and ordered George Dewey to take Manila Bay. Then he resigned, formed his own cavalry unit, and won the Battle of San Juan, which pretty much was the most decisive victory of the entire war.
Teddy Roosevelt was shot in the chest, but he didn't care. He gave a 2-hour speech right after.
And this is the same guy that won a Nobel Peace Prize. Someone once said that it's a good thing death took TR when he was sleeping, because if he had been awake, then there would have been a fight.